All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Lure Lab episode here on the Serious Angler Network. And as always, I'm your host, the Captain Andrew Full. If you listen to our episode on Tuesday on the Serious Angler Network, you notice that we have some new things going on there, and I had lost my voice. My voice is actually starting to come back now, thank goodness. And we're not going to talk about why. It was a tragic Bills game, so we'll end it there. But we have an awesome episode for you today. We are diving deep into the Strike King Hybrid Hunter with Strike King Pro Bryant Smith, a frequent flyer these days on the network here, and we enjoy having him on. So we're going to dive into a really good crankbait here, get down to the nitty gritty of it all. And without further ado, we should just get him on here and let him talk so you don't have to hear me. But yeah. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
It's going well, Andrew. How are you?
Trying to stay warm. Today it was a balmy 37 and raining. So
Yeah.
how's it there?
We had to drive an hour away to get to the snow from my house because I was in shorts all morning. So, not to make you jealous or anything, but
I wore
we have
shorts
the
all day.
yeah. Californians are crazy enough. We actually drive to the snow for fun.
Mm, mm. I don't mind it. It's fun. So, yeah, you saw the picture I sent you before from
Oh
the
yeah.
snowstorm we had. Was that like 2 weekends ago that they moved the Bills game for? So, in reference, I live about a mile and a half from the stadium where the Bills play. And I don't know if you got the last picture I sent you, but it was snowing so hard that you can almost not see me from taking a selfie.
I
So,
saw that. I saw that. Yeah, that's where I would probably cross the line and I maybe put a for sale sign up on my house.
we moved to the snow belt, which is the best part of the last year. But yet, so to put it in perspective, we at times can get up to 4 to 6 inches per hour in a snow band.
I don't even know what that's like.
And
I
then
can't even
sometimes
imagine that much snow.
and sometimes they'll thunder and lightning too, which will really throw you for a loop.
Just for fun,
Yeah.
just a little added excitement in there or something.
You're like, "Ooh, what was that?" Like, "Is that thunder?" And then all of a sudden the whole sky like you're like, "Oh, damn, thunder snow." Like this stuff is sweet, like my gosh. Like
That would be pretty cool. Like it would just light, especially at night. That's got to
it's
look really
eerie at
cool with
night.
the snow.
It's
Yeah.
really eerie because it's not like your traditional like light blue. It's like green and yellow.
Yeah. I'll pass. I'll
Yeah,
trust you that it's cool.
it's cool, but it's
Mm.
eerie and the thunder's just as loud as a normal thunderstorm. And you're adding in like 60 to 80-mile-an-hour winds at times the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
Just throw that in there. Little icing on the cake.
fantastic, right? So you wanna come to Buffalo
Literally
for a
ice.
winter. So I was out snow blowing and I literally came in looking like Jack Frost, like the whole room was frozen. So, but yeah, we're here to talk fishing, right? It's almost bass season up here in the Northeast. We got like 2 months left before we can get the boats out and go. But
Oh
you know,
man.
the hybrid hunter, you're going to be on the road soon, and I'm sure you'll be
Yep.
throwing this bad boy quite a bit, especially if you come across some lakes. So, for those who don't know what a hybrid hunter is, what is the purpose of the hybrid hunter? Just to start, and then we're going to dive into like the different styles, the regular size and junior. So I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah. So, I mean, the best way I can, and I shouldn't cover up the bill because I feel like the bill is everything. The best way I can describe a hybrid hunter is the perfect treble hook bait to throw around grass. It reminds me a lot of a vibrating jig almost.
Hmm.
And that's where the beauty of this bait comes in because if you've thrown any sort of treble hook bait in the grass, you can know how much of a pain in the butt it could be. Any like lipless or red eye shad, anything like that. They come through the grass okay, but you're doing a lot of ripping it out. You're a lot of like picking the grass off every cast, stuff like that. The difference between any other treble hook bait and this bait in grass situations is that it comes through so effectively. It comes through so clean. It
Does it
blows me
swim
away
like
every single.
horizontal like this, or does it swim
Correct.
nose down?
It swims
Oh,
horizontally.
oh, that's
So
weird.
It is weird. So it's all, I don't know, like this is all based off of an older bait, but the way it swims is, it seems counterintuitive. You would think you would want it to actually go nose down to block the hooks, right? But in reality, it actually comes through the grass better if it's horizontal like this, because it's not diving into that grass and getting hung up. It almost planes the grass out of the way when it
So
goes forward
it
or back.
moves water, so as it's swimming, the grass separates and
Yeah,
goes forward.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, the best part, yeah, that's one of the best parts about this bait for sure, and where it really really excels is in that. Uh, Thank you. Sorry, just got totally forgot. Thank you. It is in those grass situations like that, and it's definitely something I reach for a lot more, more and more with the popularity of a vibrating jig. Just something different, you know.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the one thing I noticed, like, what the last like 2 years, 3 years, they've been out what 3 years now, the hybrid hunter, or 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
sold out everywhere all the time.
They are. They
They're
are.
really hard
The
to get your hands on.
Yeah, the secret's kind of out on these ones, and it's just it's a bait that just works. You know, I'm not really into like the science of anything like that. I've thrown it and it's worked for me, and it's a really really effective way to cover a lot of water when you're up against, you know, like when I go to Florida this
Yeah.
year, we go to St. John's, we go to Harris Chain. If we're on those big expansive hydrilla flats, this is something I can throw, and I can throw it behind guys that are maybe throwing a vibrating jig or throwing a top or just something different, you know. That's what we're always trying to find, is that different look, that different sound, which we'll get into, I'm sure, a little bit later. Is the sound of this thing
Oh,
is also,
they sound amazing.
it's freaking loud. It's loud. And I mean, from what I've seen, you know, when you're grass fishing, you need something. I mean, these fish are not always sitting in the on the edge of the grass. A lot of times they're like literally inside the grass. So you need something that they can hear and something that can draw them out. And this thing is super super loud. It's got a huge knock to it, and I think that helps a lot too. Of them finding it, they're able to track it better, and you're able to pull those fish out of where they're hiding basically
Yeah,
a
out
lot
of the
better.
jungle.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. So, you know, we have the original, and there's a super shallow, like not super shallow, but there's a shallow hunter, and then
Hmm.
there's a junior one in each size. So there's four different options of hybrid hunters that people could go and purchase, right? So,
Hmm.
like, when would you pick up each one, and when would you go from the big size to the smaller one, like the junior size?
Yeah. So we got this is the big guy. This is the junior one. It's, you know, it's substantially smaller. Um, I base the size for the most part just on obviously forage size. If I see a lot of bigger forage, that's going to be a dead giveaway to throw that bigger one. The other reason why I would grab that bigger one is just when I'm around bigger fish. When I need to draw a bigger bite, this thing, the size of it, it's not huge by any means, but it's definitely bigger than most crankbaits, and I think it could draw a bigger bite. Now, the smaller one, I, basically the opposite of that. When I'm around smaller bait fish, I'll grab the smaller one. When I'm maybe the bite's a little tougher, or if there's a lot of guys in the area that I'm in, you know, it's just kind of a toned down version of the little the hybrid, the bigger one.
Yeah.
So I'll grab the smaller one when, you know, I think there's maybe more fishing pressure, or, you know, it's just tougher to get a bite. And then as far as the shallow versus the deep, that's just going to be dictated on how deep the grass is. I want this bait to dive into the grass. I don't want it swimming over the grass. I don't want it swimming in open water. I want it making contact with the grass. So if I'll usually start out with a shallow one, and then if I don't feel it, you know, grabbing enough grass, if I'm not snapping it out of the grass enough, if it's not making enough contact with it, then I'll go to that deeper one. But vice versa, if I get into an area where The deeper one is, or I guess the regular one, the regular one's digging in too much, then I will go to that shallower one because, it's all about efficiency, right? We want to
Yeah.
make as many clean casts as we can. And this thing is very good. It comes through the grass very well, but it is still has, you can't throw the deeper one. Deeper one's like 2 to 4 feet. You're not going to be able to throw this if the hydrilla or whatever you're fishing is a foot under the surface. It's just going to dig into it a little too much. So that's when I'll grab that shallower one.
Now, do you prefer this bait in like a pre-spawn scenario, or do you throw it all year? Like, is there a magic time of year that the hybrid hunter excels?
I actually like it post spawn a lot. I think post spawn when they're chasing bluegill, brim, red ear, whatever. When they're chasing stuff like that, I think post spawn is when it really excels. But I will throw it anytime I have grass. I've caught them pre spawn. I've caught them during the spawn. I've caught them in summer. I've caught them in fall. I haven't really caught them in winter too much, but
I can't imagine why.
yeah,
Probably a little cold.
yeah. But definitely post spawn seems to be the best. That's when I get the most bites on that guy.
Love it. Now, is there like particular colors that you think are better than others, or like your confidence colors that you go to immediately? Like for striking for all purposes, right? Like chartreuse perch, or what's this other
Yeah.
one? Sweet shad. Like in striking, you can't beat these two colors. I feel like I
No.
just want to know what your
No.
take is.
Yeah. So I have three. Let me grab them real quick. I got three colors that I throw. I got a whole box of them here, but I got three colors that I throw mainly. And we got that one, and then let me grab. Actually, so they're three very different colors, but they're three colors that can kind of cover my bases, if you will, for everything. I'll have a few specialty ones that I'll throw in certain situations. Like if we go down to Florida, I'm throwing the gold, right? But this chartreuse perch color, I don't know if this is clear water
Clear water
minnow.
minnow, right? I have it pulled
Yeah.
up here, so I'll look.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is clear water minnow. This is just my translucent one, super clear water. If I'm around a shad spawn or something like that, that's what I'll go with here. Anytime I'm around any sort of bluegill, or I think they're feeding on bluegill, this guy is my absolute favorite. And then, I did say we can get some great bites on this in the pre-spawn, and there's nothing better than a dark red. This is Delta red, and this is actually a California color. This was, we've been throwing this on deep crankbaits for years, but it works great on shallow crankbaits, and it works great on a hybrid hunter too. And this has
My
made
favorite trap color.
Yes, this has made quite a bit of money on the California Delta, but it'll be something I have tied on at Toledo. It'll be something I have tied on in Fork when we get there in a couple weeks. Just a dynamite color, especially pre-spawn. But those are the three favorite for just kind of all around. If I was going to grab three, and then if I had one more, it'd be green gizzard shad, and that's just my favorite strike king color ever. So that's the only other one I would really throw. But
between, was it green gizzard, blue gizzard, and sexy shad? Like, is there a crankbait color besides those three that has won more money?
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Maybe chartreuse blue back with Keith Combs.
That is true.
Maybe.
That is true. That is true. That'd be a strong. That'd be a top five for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I keep. I'm always the guy that keeps my colors super simple. I just try to get a color for every scenario that I can come up with, and then I run with those ones.
Well, as we know, as fishermen, most baits on the market are meant to be bought and not fished. So I'm with you on that one, right? Like simple, match the hatch. Essentially, just throw what makes sense in the conditions, and you're probably going to catch fish.
Yeah, if you look at my box, it's pretty much the same colors, just different variations of those colors. I got some chartreuses, some bluegill colors, the reds, and then variations of the shad. And that's, that's what I like to throw, and that's what I've always had confidence and a lot of success in, is keeping it simple like that.
Yeah. And simple's better in most instances. We love to overthink it as fishermen. So
Oh, I'm one of the best at it, I promise.
uh, I believe it, but I also don't believe it. So like I know how fishermen are.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is like,
We are our own worst critics.
oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, with what I do, I got to catch them against the best guys in the world. And we only have 2.5 days to break it down. So a lot of times I don't get to figure out those finer details. I have to go on generalities a lot more. And that's just kind of what I have like, if you look at all my tackle boxes, like I could grab any tackle box in here and you'll see there's going to be 3 variations, very, very different, and then maybe some offshoots of that, but there's going to be 3 main colors that I stick with.
Like if it's like you might, like for instance, if you took a green pumpkin soft plastic bait, and we're going on a tangent real fast, you might have one with like a crazy flake in it, and you might have one with like a more subtle flake in it, and then just standard green pumpkin black based on the conditions.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I love to do, is just keep it simple like that.
And simple works. Bass can't really tell the difference, I don't think. I think it's more catching our own eye. But
absolutely,
let's hear the setup, right? Like rod, reel, line, because a hybrid hunter, it's something I'm not very familiar with. These are my first 2 that I bought, right? Like, but I'm assuming awesome. Because of the cool lip, if you go up and down in your fluorocarbon size, that's going to change the way this bait rides, because it rides horizontally. So let's kind of dive into that, like based on how you want to cover the water, what your setup is all the way through.
Yeah. Let's do the rod real quick, because that's pretty much the easiest part. Rod and reel. It's an Alpha Angler Chatterbound. It is, I fish this bait a lot like a bladed jig. So I ended up just one day, I'm just going to grab the Chatterbound and see how it does with it. And the way the fish eat it, it really, it lands a lot of fish. And this is a hard bait. Like if you look at it, this is kind of a tough bait for the anglers, because it's treble hooks, but they have a lot of leverage on this. So I think you need some sort of cranking rod. So anything more moderate, not so much a fast tip, a more moderate bend to it. Medium heavy, I would say I would lean towards. This is, the Chatterbound's a little more of a medium heavy, just so I can throw the bigger one, well, I can control it. And then you need that medium heavy too, because you're going to get some big bites on this guy. And like I said, where we're throwing it around grass. So you need to be able to control those fish once they bite. So that medium heavy moderate, it allows me just a little bit more power to kind of control those fish around the targets. If we're throwing it around hydraulic clumps on Harris chain, or around some wood and some stumps with some grass mixed in, and Rayburn or something like that, you're going to have a lot of objects in between the fish and you. So being able to control them really, really helps. But that's the rod. The reel, this is just a loose hypermag, 8.5-1. I throw a high speed reel, and I've always tried to do that with everything that I do, because in my mind, it's a lot easier to slow down a fast reel than it is to speed up a slow reel. You have to work, I swear, you got to work 5 times as hard to speed up like a 6.2-1, or even if you drop down to a 5.1.
Or using like a 7.2 or an 8-1.
Yeah, I use 8.5-1.
Burn.
This is but a lot of times I do burn this bait, but I'm able to slow it down a lot easier. And sometimes they eat this a lot like a vibrating jig too. It's kind of interesting, where they'll grab it and they'll actually come towards you. like they were tracking it and they actually grab it and come towards you. So
So they
a lot of
push it a
times
lot.
yeah, you'll notice them push it every once in a while. So whenever I have a bait that they do that to, I always tend to run a high speed reel just so I can catch that slack up that much quicker, get the hooks in the fish. But um, it's weird. I don't say this very often, but one of the biggest keys to this bait is actually the line. And the line controls, we talked about the shallow diver versus the regular.
Are you getting
Um,
sciencey on us at the moment?
I've never been accused of being sciencey, but
It's
I'll
not a
try my
word at
best.
all, but are you being scientific on us at the moment?
Yeah, I'll try my best to be scientific, but basically, bigger line, shallower it rides or it'll dive. The lighter the line, the deeper it'll dive. So we have the ability to adjust from the regular to the shallow diver, and we can actually really, really fine tune it with the size of our line. Generally, I'll start with a 20-pound fluorocarbon. It doesn't hinder the action. This bait has plenty of movement on 20-pound. You can control the fish better. You're not going to break it off, stuff like that, all that good stuff. But if I'm noticing I'm not hitting the grass and I'm throwing the regular one, and maybe the grass is down 5, I don't think I can hit 6 with this thing. But if it's down 5 feet, 4 or 5 feet, I can hit it with this and 15-pound test. I don't like dropping to 12. It's just too. I'll drop to
It's a
12 with the
nightmare.
small one.
That's a
Yeah,
nightmare
but
grass with a big one.
yeah, the risk reward isn't there for me. So 15 if I have to, but usually it's 20-pound test. But again, you can control the depth of this bait with the line. Pretty cool how that works.
And also, I would assume too, probably like lifting the rod tip up or even dropping
Yeah.
it down.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And, then,
Absolutely.
and
If
when
you
you
want
lift the
to,
rod tip up or drop it down, does that change the action of the bait at all?
it doesn't. It
Mhm.
doesn't. It'll still run. It will run like this no matter what you do, from what I've seen. And you can all like there's sometimes where I'm almost waking it on the surface. I'll keep my rod tip up, I'll have that 20-pound test on, and I'll use that shallower one, and it to the point where it blows out every once in a while. But you can find that like perfect angle and actually almost use it as a wake bait over super shallow grass, and you almost get some topwater bites on it.
Oh, that's
Pretty
fun.
cool. But um, the ability that you have to adjust the depth of it with your line, with how you're holding your rod, that's the cool part. And you need that with grass fishing because it's not all the same depth. You're not going to be able to just put one on and throw it the same way all day. You'll have to adjust it throughout the days.
Yeah. Now, I have one last question for you, and then I'll let you run with the floor if there's anything else that you think we're missing. But hybrid hunter, I'm not a fan personally of like the stock hooks that come on it or
Mm-hmm.
split rings. So that's one thing I'm going to be looking to upgrade here. So, do you upgrade the split rings and the hooks at all on these baits because you are fishing around grass with heavier line?
Yeah, so I do. This is.
You're
I
a
don't do the
triple
split
grip
ring.
guy.
I am a triple grip guy. Um, I've always been a triple grip guy. It's just it's been my favorite hook forever. I have so much confidence in this hook, and the cool thing is you can actually run. It's a big enough body to where you can run some pretty big hooks on here. Like these are number ones. Don't think these are 1/0s. I think these are ones, and ones on the regular one actually like they don't tangle, so you're not gonna have them tangle, get hung on each other. But if you have one come out and swipe at it, you got some gap there, and
Yeah.
it's actually I'll show you on this side. It's a pretty
Meaty beat.
wide bait, so you need something that can actually poke out a little bit past the body, just so if they do swipe at it, you can catch a piece of them.
Love it.
But yeah, definitely. I always upgrade the hooks on everything. I've always done that, and that I think these are ones like I said on the regular one, and I think I used I think I use 4s on the small guys. I think I use 2 or 4. I think it's a 4 on the smaller one.
I want to see if it tells us because I'm on the Omnia site here right now. I want to see if it tells us the size of the hooks. Yeah, so the junior says a size 4, and then the shallow says a
Hmm
2. So
Yeah, I think you can bump both those up. You can do, uh, you can definitely do a size 1. You could probably even get away with a 1-aught if you really wanted to on the regular one, but
yeah, as long as they
uh,
don't touch in the middle, right? You're
yeah,
good.
as long as they're not grabbing and they're not too like big to where they're grabbing a lot of grass, because like I said before, the whole beauty of this guy is the efficiency through the grass, how easy it comes through the grass. It's the wildest thing. I'm like, it's so crazy. The first time I picked it up, I'm like, I was on Kissimmee Chain, and we're just out in the middle on Lake Toho, and there's a giant grass flat. It goes basically the whole lake's a giant grass flat, and I grabbed it. I'm like, I'm about to throw treble hooks into this, and I was struggling to get like a vibrating jig through it, and I threw treble hooks, and it like just glides through it. It's crazy.
Ah, and hopefully you got bit.
I did. Absolutely.
And you're like,
Absolutely. I did.
then the light
Absolutely.
bulb went off, and you're like, crap.
This
Let's try
thing's
and
for
keep
real.
this a secret for a little bit. And
Yeah,
that
that
didn't last
lasted
very long.
lasted all of about 2 weeks.
Oh man. Yeah. It's the way it goes. Fishing industry, somebody's gonna find out and then everyone else finds out, right? So
Oh yeah. But we're all here to catch more fish, and this is definitely it's a special bait, and it'll get you some extra bites. It'll show them a little different presentation than they're
yeah,
used to. And yeah, it'll catch you some fish.
can't wait. So anything else you want to touch on, Bryant, here before we let you go?
Um,
Anything I'm
I,
missing?
Uh, retrieve speed. That's the one other thing I would say with this thing is a lot of times you cannot move it fast enough for them. Uh, so always play with the retrieve speed. Stop and go works really well with this bait because it does float, but if you stop it quick enough, it'll almost hover there. It almost kind of just hovers and backs up just a little bit, and then you can hit it again and keep it going. But I always try to play with the retrieve, whatever they want that day. Sometimes it's the stop and go. Sometimes it's burning it. Other times it is slow rolling it. Like if right now when it's a little cooler outside, I definitely do slow roll it a little bit more. But yeah, just get out with this thing and throw it. That's the cool part about it. It's a fish finder. It really is, especially on
Love it.
those giant flats. It's a fish finder.
So just get out there, cover water, change your
Hmm
retrieve, and make sure you burn it half the time, and you're probably gonna get bit. I
That's
like it.
it.
It's good
That's it.
advice. So, well, thanks, Bryant, for coming on. It's always good to see you. I hope you have a safe travel to Florida because you're probably gearing up to leave here soon, right?
Yeah. Luckily, I only got to go to Texas first.
Oh,
That's the
Texas, you're
nice.
right. Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
They changed the schedule on me this year, so I'm not
Yeah.
used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I stop at Toledo Bend and don't just keep going straight to Florida. We're like, where's everybody at? I thought it was
Well,
in
like,
Florida.
when was the last time the Elite Series started in Texas? It's got to be
I don't
forever.
know. Yeah, I don't know if it's ever happened, to be honest with you.
Crazy.
It's I'm excited though. It's for 2 reasons. We're gonna catch them. They're gonna catch them big, especially if the weather holds out in Texas. It's a cool time of year to be in Texas. And then the other thing is we get to go to Florida in April, which is totally different than
Yeah.
what we usually do. So that'll be a cool experience too. And I think a lot of people open their eyes to how good Florida fishing is, not just in January and February, but year round.
Yeah, I have a buddy that lives just outside Tampa, and he's always catching big ones all summer. I'm just like,
Hmm
man, I if
hmm
I could only stand the heat for more than like 1 hour, maybe I'll maybe. So me and heat don't get along. That's why I am where I am.
I get it. I get it.
So, well, thanks, Bryant, for coming on. It's always good to see you. I wish you the best of luck in 2024, and hopefully you can catch another record-breaking bag of fish.
Hey, I'm gonna try, but I appreciate it, Andy. I appreciate you having me on.
Anytime. So we'll chat soon.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for tuning into this week's episode here on the Lure Lab. I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the show, but down in the description, there are links to the Hybrid Hunter on the Omnia website. They might have some in stock right now as you're listening. They may not, but there is a message notification that you can set up that they email you when the baits come into stock. And then if they are in stock, when you go to purchase them, type in code Series 10. You'll save yourself 10% on the baits and get them shipped relatively quickly to your house. But I want to thank Bryant for coming on, breaking down the Hybrid Hunter. I look forward to throwing it this summer, spring, and fall. I know the months are out and the seasons are out of order, but whatever. But if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave us a review. If you're new here on YouTube or listening on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and leave a comment down below if you've thrown the Hybrid Hunter before. And we will catch you next Saturday.